Hey there, how is it going? Welcome back to a new episode on the Scaling Season podcast. I am your host, Joly Tematio, and in today's episode, we are going to go over what's a scaling season, like how did the name of the podcast came about, but what does a scaling season mean for you as a business owner? Now, if it's the first time you come across the podcast, I am Joly Tematio. I'm an ex-data scientist and ad agency owner, and in this podcast I really share with you the behind the scenes of what we're currently doing day to day to help our clients scale and add an extra $100,000 per month in their bottom line by using social media ads. So here you can expect to find content around Facebook ad, Instagram ad, YouTube ad, marketing, human psychology, and just conversion, what it really takes to scale a business beyond 6 figures per month, and what process you need to have in place, what system you need to have in place, and like overall how do you need to think from a marketing standpoint, right? So in today's episode, we really go deep into what's the scaling season and how do you want to navigate one, because once you understand how it actually looks like. So a scaling season is, first and foremost, the reason why I've named this podcast the scaling season, and the team was like, yes, that's a perfect name, literally comes from the fact that scale is something that we say, like it's a word that I literally say every single day, because when client comes to us, they have the pinpoint, okay, we want to get to the next level, we want to make more, grow, we want to have a bigger impact, have a bigger income. How do we make that happen? Especially, how do we make that happen in a way that's sustainable, that doesn't imply that we're going to work hard in the business, but we're going to be able to focus on what we actually like and enjoy. So how do we make that happen, right? So the scaling season is really a season that's, when you think about it, it's really a season that's not really about scaling. It's a season which is about building and making sure that what you have in place, it actually works really well. I see so many business owners that are looking to get to the scaling phase, that okay, I really need to scale to get to the next level, but they don't even have the right foundation in place. They don't have the right building blocks that are going to propel them to the next level, right? And so during the scaling season, you usually want to look at the different part of your business, and you want to think of your business like a machine, like a system, right? And look at the different component of your system, of your business, and looking at what are the bottlenecks, right? Where do you see the links? What the leaks? Where do you see the constraints that are currently preventing you from getting to the next level? Because once you've identified those constraints, you then want to think, okay, how do I elevate this constraint so that my business can get to the next level? Because usually it's not like the thing that's usually preventing businesses from scaling. It's not much of what they're not doing. It's much, okay, what it's not about doing more, it's about doing less. It's about doing less of the right, it's about doing less of the wrong thing and focusing more on the right thing. So okay, which actions, which activities are the ones that actually moving the business forward the fastest, and how can you double down on those specific activities? So your business, because here's the thing, you want to, when you think of your business, when you look at your business from an overarching standpoint, like you look at the 360-foot view, you want to realize that your business is never going to outgrow its bottlenecks, right? So your business is only going to be able to grow to the extent at which your system are grow and are in place. So which means that the biggest problem that you face is not necessarily an output issue. It's more like, okay, which type of input do I have that I expect to get an output from, right? So if I were to share with you an example, most businesses when they come to us, they're like, oh, we need more lead, and I'm like, yes, okay, amazing, that's I get that, but let's first of all look at how you are currently nurturing, walking through, and even converting your current lead. Because if you are not having you don't have a process in place that's currently designed to convert, nurture, and actually get those leads to become, convert them into clients, no matter how many leads you get in plus, it's not really going to fix the issue, right? So we need to look at, okay, what's the bottleneck? People are like, oh, I just need more traffic. That's what I hear all the time, right? We're not getting enough traffic to our website. I'm like, okay, that's fantastic, but let's look at how your website is currently converting. What's the current conversion rate? Because if the website is not converting at the rate at which it truly could and should, then it doesn't really matter how much traffic you have, because the more traffic you have is not going to fix you. They're just going to keep on losing money. So looking at really, okay, what's the current bottleneck that I have in my business, and how do I actually solve that throughput issue, those input issue, because it's ultimately going to solve it's going to allow me to scale faster, right? And so different part of the, when I think of your business as a system, and I mentioned that you need to look at like different part of your system. One part of the system is definitely understanding, okay, when it comes to traffic, right? How much traffic are you currently getting in your system? How does your sales process looks like, right? How does your sales process look like? How does your conversion process looks like? How does your retention process looks like? Because if you have the right volume of eyeballs that are currently discovering your content, that are seeing what you are about and that are looking to work with you, if you have the volume of the traffic that's dialed in, you have a conversion process, right? A sell mechanism that's really dialed in, that allows you to actually convert those process into clients, those eyeball into money in the bank. And then you have a retention process that's actually designed to actually get those client results, get them to stay longer. You literally have a business that you can scale infinitely, right? Now those are like the 3 pillars that you want. Of course, you have also the team, because if you want to have, especially if when you think of scaling, you cannot scale by being alone. You have team, you have systems, right, that you need to deploy. You need to leverage people, and you need to leverage software if you truly want to achieve scale. But you literally want to ask yourself, okay, are we getting enough eyeball? Are we do we have access to a large enough audience that actually know our name, that see our product at scale, that consistently is reminded of what we have to offer? Because it doesn't really matter in which space you are at the moment. Chances are it's crowded with competition, people doing just like the similar thing as you. So how do you stand out? How do you stand out in a way that's completely automated, that doesn't depend on how you feel that day, what's happening, maybe what's going on in your family, in your personal life? How do you stand out? How do you stay top of mind in your prospect eyes? So when they think of making the purchase decision, when they think of investing, you are the first one that they think about, because they're like, wow, she's an expert, she's the one that can help me solve that issue, let me get in touch with her. So, or let me get in touch with him. So you need to have a process that allows you to either build that audience or tap into that audience, which allows you to actually stay relevant and top of mind. And the way in which you do so, it's actually you can access that audience. You can either go the organic way, which will require you to build your audience, step by step, by creating content, whether it's YouTube, podcast, TikTok, Instagram, what have you. But it's going to take years, right? It's going to take decades. And of course, you want to play the game for the long run. But as you are building that audience consistently, or as you are creating content online, you also want to think, okay, how do I leverage system? How do I leverage paid ads, social media ads, to actually get things to speed up faster? Because one of the limiting beliefs that most business owners have is the fact that they think, okay, if I need to get client organically, because that's going to validate who I am. That's going to validate who I am as a business owner. Saying that I've built this thing organically without spending a dime on ad. It's a very I see someone bragging about it, and they say, of course, it makes sense that you have that feeling of pride. But if the goal for you is actually to build wealth, there's nothing wrong with looking for a way to make things easier on yourself. There's nothing wrong with finding a more predictable, dependable way of turning cash into advertising, because ultimately we have 2 resources. We have either money or we have time. So if you're not in a place where you can invest a lot of time into building that audience massively, and it takes years to make that happen, and there's no guarantee at all that it's going to happen, you can literally leverage ads to speed things up, especially if you've already worked with clients in the past and you know that you're good at what you do, you've gotten them amazing results. Ads is really where you want to tap into to get in front of an audience of ideal clients. Because the thing is, when you when you post content organically, of course that's fun, but you have no control over who sees your content, and at which scale your content is being seen, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I've posted the content there, but it's just like you hope that the algorithm does his thing. But if you actually want a dependable way and a predictable way to get in front of the right eyeballs consistently, then you want to think of, okay, how do I tap into an audience of targeted clients or prospect consistently and at scale, without me having to be there 24/7 thinking of new content ideas, thinking of new marketing angle, thinking of new trend that I can incorporate in my content to make it stand out on social media. Because there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes when it comes to create content consistently on social media to get client, right? So that was the first thing. The second thing is actually thinking, okay, how do I actually, once I have those eyeballs, how do I then turn them into clients? Because it doesn't really matter how big your audience is. If you're thinking of scaling, it's really matter of, okay, what's the process that I have in place that's designed to turn them from interested to, take my money, I want to work with you. That's what should be your focus. How do I create a bridge that's going to be evergreen, that converts them predictably from eyeball into into client. And the way in which you do that, it really depends on your price point, your offer, complexity, and how you want to build your business. Because some business owner are like, oh yeah, I want to do it myself. I want to have this really small team. Or business owner like, I don't really mind hiring a team of 15 or 30. I want to grow this baby to the moon, right? So depending on the vision for your business, depending on your current team size, your offer, there's different ways in which you can actually go about nurturing your prospect and converting them into client, right? And here you can think of maybe having a sales call with them, having a triage call, then getting them on a sales call from the ads. You can think of having a webinar that educates them. You can think of having a VSL on your side that share your perspective before it invites them to schedule a call. You can also have you can also have an event which is a bit more intimate, that might take a bit more time to pull off, but it's also an amazing way to get them to see what you have to offer and actually dive deeper and want to work with you. So there's a lot of ways in which you can go about getting those eyeballs into client. It really depends on your offer, price point, and what your and what your conversion mechanism is, and what your goals are specifically. I've made a video on YouTube where I shared the 4 best funnel to run in 2023 and beyond. This is 2023 to get the most out of your business if you're selling an info product. So I highly advise you to actually go and watch that video on the channel. You can find the channel, it's Joly Tematio, the name of the channel. So that will give you more clarity in terms of what sort of mechanism can I create to actually turn them into clients. And so the third thing that we discussed was retention, right? Once you have those clients at the door, how do I retain them, get them to stay as long as humanly possible? So if you have those 3 things working together, you can literally scale infinitely, right? And of course with team and labor, right? Because as much as we live in a day and age where that's crazy about AI and automation or what have you, the truth of the matter is, even in order to build those automation, even in order to use AI as of now, you still need to hire people. You still need to hire people that are going to create the automation, decide which decision the automation is going to, make decision around those automation, take action, right? All of those things are going to be designed, set up by a person. So if you're looking to build a long-lasting business, a legacy business, as we are here to do, there's no getting around hiring talented individual. That's just the bottom line of it. So if you want to scale, knowing how to hire, train, manage, incentivize, it's key. It's key, because then it's not a better feeling to have to be able to take 2 weeks off if you need to, and have your business that still runs smoothly. There's not, for me, literally hiring people in the team, in the agency, has literally changed my life. I feel like I've even fallen in love deeper with my business since I started hiring last year. It's been such a beautiful journey. And of course, there are bad hire you make, and then you learn. It's a process, but ultimately when you find the right one, man, the feeling is absolutely amazing. So there you have it, the component when it comes to actually scaling your business. We are here discussing in this video, in this podcast, we talk about scaling. We are in the scaling system, but what does scaling actually mean? Scaling means identifying what your current bottlenecks are, what do you have the current leaks in your business, and what can you do to optimize those leaks to actually get better performance over time. So I hope you find this valuable. If you did, make sure to share it on your social media and tag me at Joly Tematio. I'll be more than happy to share and to share it in my story, and also stalk you. If you got value from this podcast, make sure to actually leave it a review. I'm trying to the goal of course is to have content, at least 3 pieces of content on the podcast every single week. And so if you want to see my face actually and get a better sense of who I am, you can definitely check out my YouTube channel at Joly Tematio, or find me on IG at Joly Tematio. Send me a DM if you have any idea for next episode. I would love to hear your thoughts as well on regarding the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.